Hello everyone, it's week 2 of the December prompt in the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium. Now the challenge or prompt for this month is to repeat any of the prompts we did during 2020. You'll either find those in the files section underneath the group banner or pinned to the announcements within the Facebook group. The project I'm going to do today covers 2 or 3 different prompts. It covers the holiday preparations, it also covers recycle, repurpose, reuse, as you'll see a little bit later, and also paper mania. I'm going to be using paper napkins here today, and what I want to do is I've got a pair of scissors here. I just want to cut a panel out of each of these gorgeous napkins. I think both of these were sent to me in Happy Mail. I love this green plaid one here, very festive but also very wintry as well. I don't want this to look too Christmassy, and I think the project I've got in mind will do the job today. So we'll just cut one of those off, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this napkin here and just cut one of these panels. I think these are all the same. Yes, they are. So I'm just going to cut one of these out as well. Again, just using my scissors. I want to stabilise these 2 pieces of napkin just because they're a bit flimsy for what I've got in mind. And to do that, I'm going to be using some freezer paper. This is just the Reynolds freezer paper, which is plastic coated. So I've cut out 2 pieces to fit each of the napkins. So this one will fit this napkin here, and this piece, this napkin here. I've got my iron at the ready, as you can see. I've also got a piece of deli paper, parchment paper, baking paper, anything like that, just to stop the glue sticking to your napkin. Now what you will need to do first, if you choose to do this, you could of course glue the napkin down to a piece of regular A4 paper, but this is just much quicker and easier, and will give me a really nice flat finish. Try not to tear it, Nina. Here we go, that's fine. So I'm just going to peel the top layer off, because of course if you don't, napkins are either 2, 3, sometimes 4 ply, and if you don't peel them apart, all you're doing is gluing the under layers, and the top layer will just come peeling off. So what I want to do now, on freezer paper, you've got a matte paper side, and you've got the shiny side, which is the sticky side, the wax side. So I'm just going to place my napkin on top like this. Many of you will have seen me do this before. I did this, oh gosh, must have been about 3 years ago, when we went absolutely mad on stabilising napkins. Then I'm just going to place my deli paper, in my case, over the top, and then I'm just going to go over this with my iron. And it doesn't take very long. All I'm trying to do is get the napkin to adhere to the freezer paper. So I've got this on, in fact I've got it on the maximum setting, but that's okay. Now you can see that I've clearly got some ink or something under my deli paper here, which is transferring, but that's fine. I'm not worried about that. That's all texture, isn't it? So just ironing this for a minute or 2 until that napkin is firmly stuck down, just like that. Then I can leave that for a second or 2 just to cool down slightly, then peel it off. In fact, that's good. The pattern was obviously on the top and not on the underside. And you can see that now my napkin is stuck to the freezer paper, and it's just more usable than, just the thin, flimsy napkins. So again, I've got my green plaid napkin here. Again, I need to take all the layers apart. So let me just do that now. So this is 3 ply. Let me just take these apart. Is this 3 or is it 2? Yep, it's 3. Here we go. Let's try and pull this one apart. You can use sticky tape to do this if it's easier, but it doesn't take long to work it apart. So pop that down onto the freezer paper here like this. Just make sure that the whole area is covered. Uncurl those edges. Pop the deli paper, parchment, whatever you're using down, and again iron just to secure that to the freezer paper. And again, I'm just going to work that for a minute or 2 until that glue has melted. That's all it's doing. The glue is melting to adhere the napkin to the paper underneath. These are nicely stuck down and are cooled. I'm just going to take these off to my paper trimmer and just get rid of the excess around the edges and just neaten the edges up where necessary. Now I want to try and do a journal page. In my 2020 Usual Scraps journal, I've only got a couple of pages to finish off in this journal now. So I'd like to try and do something on this page here. Let me just move the rest of the journal out of the way. I've also pulled out an old a paper bag as well, Hotel Chocolat paper bag, which I thought would make a really nice background. Maybe we can preserve some of the red here, I don't know, it might get lost, but what I want to do is try and cut this paper bag down just so that I can preserve the rest of it. So I'm just going to carefully trim around the edges, just trying to preserve the sides and the back. Here we are, we can cut the rest of it off, and then I'm just going to take this to my paper trimmer and just try and even up the sides a little bit, and also peel off the handles on the inside as well, carefully, just so that I don't destroy and tear through the other side of the bag. So just really, really carefully peeling this off. So here we go, I've cut out my paper bag and it's not too far off the size of the background page that I want to use. I've kept this handle as well, goodness knows why, but you never know, that might come in handy for something. Now I do want some of this scenery at the bottom, so I'm just going to trim my paper bag off here and at the bottom to try and fit the page. Now I had no plan other than the fact that these were the pieces that I wanted to use on this page. I've decided that I want this on the left hand side. Now because my pages are rounded here, this is the right height. I've trimmed it down so that it's the right height, but freezer paper is going to need either a top coat of gel medium or sewing around the edges, just because it's not completely permanent. So I'm going to round the edges in the same way. Whoops, here we go. In the same way, I'll trim that afterwards. In the same way that the bottom page is rounded. Here we go. I'll just either trim around this or just go over it a bit more. And then what I want to do, here we go, is just sew all around the outside here, just to make sure that that doesn't come unstuck. I've sewn around the edges of my paper here. Whoops, I've got a big globby of glue. I started off here and went all the way around the edges, back round. Look, I've even gone round a corner for the first time ever, so my sewing is definitely getting neater. I've covered the back in some glue stick, and just paying particular attention to the edges as always. So I'm just going to glue that down there like that. It does not have to be perfect, that's fine, that's good enough for me. Really like how that looks. And then I'm thinking that maybe this can go on here, something like that. I do want to do something with this, which I want to use as my focal image. It's much too big and needs trimming down. So I think I'm just going to play around with this on my trimmer. I want to keep some of these berries because I just think the colour just ties in absolutely beautifully. So I'm going to play around with this. So I've cut the bird down. I'm much happier with that now. I do want to trim around the edges, round the edges, round the corners, just like this. This is the smaller of the X-cut corner rounders. I've got the two different sizes and you know, they both serve a purpose. I want the smaller one for this one here, just because of the size of the piece I'm working with. So trim those, there we go, that's that. And then I've pulled out this piece of Greek dictionary paper because I thought I might quite like to mount the napkin on the back of that, just to add a really nice border. So I think I'm going to stick that down. Let's have a look and see. I think I prefer that page there actually, because the borders are neater. So yeah, let's do that. Let's stick that down again. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off to my sewing machine just so that this doesn't come unstuck, and then we'll glue it down to the back of the dictionary paper. I've sewn around the edges. I did make a bit of a boo-boo. Look, we've got a slight hole in the top there, but you know, by the time it's glued down, I don't think you'll be able to notice. So I'm going to stick that down there like that, just using glue stick again. So we'll just apply some around the edges, just like this and all the way into the centre. This feels just like fabric. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I love how you can see the dictionary paper underneath the napkin as well, even though it's still on the backing of the freezer paper. Just love that. So I'm just going to trim myself a border. I'm really pleased with how this looks, and I've used my corner rounder again to just round off the edges. That looks super. I do want to add something to the background just to tidy up this edge here. I've pulled out this burlap ribbon. I think that will work really well. I'm just going to stick that down with some 3-in-1. Where's it gone? Here we go. So what I shall do is just add some here, just to the edge here, and then we can spread it out a little bit, not too much. Here we go. Let's plonk that down. So just have some there. I might even run this through the sewing machine again, because I've got nothing on the back. Let's try and get that nice and straight. Here we go, like this. Stuck down really well, and all I'm going to do now is just add a small amount just on the edge here, like this. Only a tiny weeny bit. I don't want it bleeding through all over the place, just enough to hold it in place. So again, we can just smooth that down really well like this. This stuff glues really quickly. Now I've trimmed the burlap down and I've got a slight overhang at the top and the bottom. As you can see, I like the way that looks. I've also pulled out a piece of this scrapbooking paper here. Now I used this as a background as one of the signature pages in my journal, and it forms the background of this page here. This was the handkerchief packaging that I used. I absolutely love that page, and actually the colours just go really well together. And if you have a look at the bird as well, the greys tone really nicely. I'm not sure whether these will be side by side, but that doesn't matter. We've got continuity now going on throughout the journal. Now I'm still toying with the idea as to whether I want to have this red. It needs trimming down significantly if I do decide to use it. I definitely want to use this. So again, I'm just going to take this off to the paper trimmer and just trim it down a little bit, and we'll see how it looks. Trimmed the paper bag down, so that's now a better size, and I just want to keep this quite simple. So I'm just going to ink around the edges with some frayed burlap. Now my ink pad is really starting to dry out. I've just refreshed it with some of this Ranger ink refresher, and I'm pretty sure all this is water and glycerin, and I'm pretty sure that you could make your own in a spray bottle, but that's enough now for me to go around the edges. So this is just the frayed burlap ink, and I'm just going to do this on all of the pieces. I've stuck the background down just with some 3-in-1 because this cardstock is a bit thicker. These are quite flimsy, so I'm just going to stick these down with a regular glue stick, but I do want them slightly off centre towards the right. So I'm just going to stick these down about there like that, as I say, just using a regular glue stick. Finally, I've just pulled out a couple of bits and pieces from the Tim Holtz Ideology Christmas Snippets ephemera pack, and I'm just going to glue these on here. How do I want those to go? About there like that. So I'll just use some Fabri-Tac, and I just think that just adds a nice touch in the corner and just complements the page really nicely. Really happy with that page, and I've just got one more that I want to finish off here. It's just the back of this one here, then this little signature is done. Now I've received a couple of things in the mail. I've received this lovely Christmas card from a friend, Lena Bott, Fina Kerist I think it is, or Fina Kerist. Happy Christmas. So I want to use that as my focal image. I also received this envelope as well from my mother-in-law. I think she's made this envelope from wallpaper. That's what it looks like to me. So I'm just going to trim around the edges because I just think that I can use that as a gorgeous background. I want to keep this page really simple because I just love that focal image so much. That card is absolutely beautiful, but you know, I need to cover up this ugly page in the background. I've pulled out a scrap of paper left over. It's another piece from the same pack that this one came out of. Colour wise, it's perfect. They go beautifully so that the two pages flow really nicely together. So I'm going to stick that on there, and I do want to keep this page, as I say, really simple. I'm going to stick these down first, and then I want to centralise that within the ribbon that I've got here poking out of the top, because I just really like that. So the background focal image is now stuck down, and I want to stamp Let It Snow. I'm going to stamp Let It first. In fact, let me just grab my stamp buddy just to make sure that I haven't got any static. Let's just stamp that first. I'm just using clear embossing ink. So Let It like that, and I'm going to add the embossing powder to that first. You can see that I just used masking tape to stamp off the snow, just so that I didn't get anything that I didn't want. I can just rub that off now. That's just the edge of the masking tape. So let's just get rid of that, and I'm just going to heat that now with my heat tool. We go, Let It Snow, and again I just masked off the Let It and stamped that in exactly the same way. And finally I've just pulled out a little snowflake here. These are all from a set by Dovecraft. Dovecraft's clear stamps, Magic and Sparkle. So let's just stamp the snowflake. I want that to go just there like that. So let me just hold the paper flat so that I get it in the right place. There we go. Just hold that down for a second or two just to make sure that the ink grabs. And again, we'll go for white embossing powder. And I think that's just the right amount of detail just to tie in the card. I've just stuck that down with a mixture of 3-in-1 and glue stick. The glue stick just gives you a bit of wiggle room so that you can move it around. This is quite thick with all the layers, so I just don't think that glue stick on its own would cut it. But isn't that a beautiful page? I just absolutely love this card. Fine Kerist. Happy Christmas. These are the pages I've done for this week's challenge. I just love these. They're just so beautiful, and it's so much fun using Happy Mail that's been sent to you in the post. This is just such a beautiful focal image. I'm really happy with these two pages. You know, and napkins are just so versatile to use. Just to recap, the challenge for this month is to either carry on with the holiday preparations prompt or go back and repeat any of the prompts that we've done during 2020. Now, for anybody who's interested in a prompt related group, I'll leave the link to the Facebook group, the Mixed Media Emporium, in the description box below. We'll be carrying on with our prompt related themes during 2021, so please do feel free to come along and join us. But just to finish off here on my two finished pages that I've created this week, I think they're gorgeous. Napkins are just so versatile, aren't they? And you know, Happy Mail is just a wonderful thing to use. So if you've enjoyed my video this week, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to go and check out Kylie's video to see what she's been up to this week. And thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.